I felt and saw this presence of something like a ghost.
As I was reaching for my keys, something growled at me coming out of the basement.
It was bad energy. I was sort of feeling like I was letting Satan out of hell.
I saw out of the corner of my eye what I thought was the girl falling off the roof.
I couldn't think. It was so loud and I was so terrified that I just froze.
I'm not calling for that. I'm calling because I'm freaking out here.
I felt this presence trying to push itself down on top of me very violently.
It would not go away. It was freaking me out. I look at my arm and it's got a scratch on it.
Welcome everybody to Ghost of Greystone, Beverly Hills. My name is Clete.
And I'm Chris.
And we are those Keith brothers. And boy, I can't thank you enough for being here. And I am very excited tonight.
The ghostly girl.
It is the ghostly girl tonight. And those of you who know from Greystone, who've been at Greystone, you know what I'm talking about. And we'll get into who that exactly is at the end of the show. But this show is going to be so awesome because it's like all the stories that we gathered and put together about this little girl. And they're so awesome.
Lots of locations.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite just because of all. Yeah. It's got some great interviews. It's going to be really
and great
fun.
Stories. I mean, the stories are outrageous. They're really, really cool. And so that's what it's going to be tonight. It might run a little long because there's so many, but I didn't want to split them up. I want to do it all in one show because I think it's worth just sticking.
We promise you won't be bored.
Okay, good. So with that in mind, not being bored, what do you got?
Well, first up is Chan, Ranger Chan.
Okay.
And this, according to you, this girl has been seen at least 8 times by 7 different people.
Excuse me. Yes. So.
And we're going to hear from all 7 individuals, according to this.
Okay, we'll see. I'm not sure that's the case, but
I don't think it's 7, but it's a lot.
Okay. So here's the deal. This is not the first time that the little girl has been known to the mansion or the location. This is our knowing that she's there because it was Ranger Chan. So, but there are other stories that are prior to this so she's been around for quite some time.
Right.
But this story with Chan is fantastic, and he's going to tell us exactly how it all went down, and then we'll chat about it afterwards.
And he was the first one to draw your attention to the little girl.
Yeah, that's why. Then I went, "What? You actually?"
Yeah.
And then since then, he's had other sightings as well. So, but let's go with Chan on his first.
Okay, here we go.
Yep.
It was a Friday, my normal day here at Greystone, and I start at 10. Check in with Steve, supervisor, tell me what the day is normal with no events or nothing, he says. I started to go around the mansion and just do my routine tasks, water, fish, check the grounds, the door, the windows, just visual checking everything. About 11:20, I think about 11:20 a.m., I walk over to the front mansion door. First thing I do is just out of just curiosity, just peep through the front mansion door like any other people. But I chose the left side, towards I'm facing. It's a double door. Pop my hands against it, put my eyes, I put my hands around it and the glass and look right through to the front towards the cart room.
Mm-hmm.
Then the cart room, and then I saw between the 2 pillars a shape of a girl, maybe age, I'm thinking between 9 or age 12. She has nice little long straight hair, wearing a polka dot shirt.
What color hair?
Maybe it could be blonde because maybe the sunlight, but I didn't know it's blonde. She just quickly skip across and hid herself in one of the pillar next to the library. At that time, I'm like, oh, someone's in the mansion. So I unlocked the front door, walked down the step, got to the main hallway, and I stood there for a second.
Now, did you radio Steve?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
So I stood for a second just to try to hear any more other footstep, because if the little girl is here, it might be some adults around, parents or someone is here. So I stood there for a second. No noise. Couldn't hear no footstep. Okay. Now slowly I move forward, inching forward, looking over to the left side where the library, and at the corner that I think the girl would be hidden behind that pillar. As I inch closer and closer, I look to the left, lean over. There was no person. The library door was closed shut, and I know myself from working here many years, there's no way you could open those double doors without making a crack in the wood and any sound, and it was closed. So at that time, I'm like, So I backtrack. I went over to the other side of the library, and those two doors were too also closed. So I attempt to open that door to see if maybe it's a possibility that she might have gone in without sounding off the wood sound of the door cracking.
Yeah.
I stepped in, empty room. I stepped back out. Thought to myself, what did I just saw? Did I saw a girl, a person? What did I just saw? And that time I stepped outside for a little fresh air, thought about it. That's when I called Steve. Steve, do you have any events going on today, or like negative chance? It should be empty today. And I said, okay.
And you never
Nope.
figured it out.
Never figured it out. Never saw her.
You never saw her again, did
Nope.
you?
Nope.
Never saw her again.
Never saw her again.
That is astounding.
That was it. It's like,
So when you do that, you see and you talk to Steve, and
they don't believe me. They just say, oh, okay. I was good. Okay. Like I say, until you see yourself, like trying to tell the story to someone that, well, not a believer, is they're gonna go, okay.
Yeah.
No.
So, having done that, and you see that she's not there, and you're walking out of the house, what's going through your head? You just saw a little girl run.
Right.
What's going through your head?
It was in my head was like, did I just saw what I just saw? And many times I ask myself, did I just saw a girl, or did I just saw a light being or something, or a shadow from the front terrace? But nothing. It was early morning. No one's there. The sun was always bright. Until this time, it's never.
Was she see-through or was she solid?
She was pretty much solid. I could see her hair. She had a headband on.
A headband?
I just go across here. A headband.
Over
She's
the
wearing a
top.
headband. I know she's in a polka dot dress, because it can be transmitted between a black white polka dot or a white dress black polka dot. But I know that it was a polka dot one.
So you don't know if the dress was white with black polka dots? That's what it looked like?
Or
Black with white?
white polka dot, yes. But I knew there was a polka dot.
Okay.
That was it.
And she was fully formed, right? There was no...
Let's do a regular skip and run. It's kind of like a quick run to get away from you. Because she knew I was possible, saw her. You know, like just not a slow walk. It's a little girl type of skip run, which with normal girl they do. That's why I felt that someone's in the mansion. Or have I seen just a reappear and disappear? And then I'm like, wait, that's something else. But it's solid as I could recognize her with a headband and nose, and be a girl, white polka dot dress or reverse, but she just skipped right through across and hit herself behind the pillar at the corner. And that's why I come to walk in without any fear in their first time around.
Because you thought it was actually somebody.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's why I stopped at the main entrance here to see if I could hear other footsteps of other parents or the dad might be in the mansion itself, or they have got into maybe a door or a window, and I was looking for more footsteps. Nothing.
Man.
Nothing I heard.
Go ahead.
You know what I love about this? What I really love about this is he's so specific. He's talking about the dress. He's talking about a headband that he saw. He's talking about the color of her hair. And that, of course, she wasn't see-through because he thought it was a real little girl.
Right.
So he's looking for the parents. That's how real it was. And going down those steps and walking toward into the grand hall and looking to see if there are any parents left or right, and then going into the card room slowly, getting into the card room to see if she's on the left side around this other wall, and to see that, oh my God, there's nobody there. And those two doors he's talking about, they are so loud. It's like,
I don't think I've heard anybody open them.
Yeah.
So they really are just.
They're really, because it's like, they've been painted and painted and painted, so they're kind of shutting you. Oh, yeah. It's one of those things where they open it.
Right.
And the doors to the library were closed from the grand hall, so nobody could have gotten in there. She was gone.
Yeah.
And guess what? That wasn't the last time he saw her. So that's a whole other story, if we can get to it at the very end of all this. Because we just said, I said, is that the last time? That's the only time I saw her. That's not true now. So, God, I love that. Is that fantastic?
It's really good.
Damn,
no, it's wonderful. I mean, and I know Chan, and he's
not
some wacko.
No, man, he's straight ahead and telling the truth, and that's what he does, man.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He's awesome. Wow.
Next up,
Was that great?
It's Chan, the walking down. Do you want to discuss how he did that? What he was doing? That's that.
Well,
or not?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So. I don't think we need to. We understood that he went down to the Grand Hall.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it.
So what else? Now are we coming up to the next one?
Yeah.
Good. Who is it?
What's the story about the camp counselor? And the little girl?
Okay.
That's Glenn. Right?
Glenn Gregory is this guy. Okay, so remember, again, as we've told you every episode, I wasn't planning on obviously doing this podcast at that time. We didn't even know what a podcast was back then. But in doing my research for all stories, Greystone, I was turned on to several people, and Glenn Gregory was one of them. And he used to be a camp counselor for the Catskills camp up there. But this is probably back in the 90s.
Catskills is a
drama camp for kids.
Run by the city of Beverly Hills, up at Greystone.
Yeah, so Glenn was the lead counselor for that, and then he became a ranger later on.
Yeah.
But he has a story.
Yep.
That's going to knock your socks off, and
Let him tell the story.
Let me tell the story. All right, go ahead.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, I think I started there in the summer of 1992.
Okay.
And I was with the Catskills summer camp. I used to get to the park early in the morning for camp. I was the one who kind of opened it up in the morning, and usually got into my the office at the time for the summer camp was above the garage. There's 2 rooms up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually I would drive my Jeep down and park right in front of the garage there, and go into the office and unlock everything, and then kind of go up and meet the other counselors and the kids for the morning check-in. Mm-hmm. And one day I got out of my Jeep and I walked into the office, and I have no idea why I went in there. He was probably picking the clipboard up or something like that. And I walked out of the office and saw above the bowling alley, there's a you can walk up to the roof of the bowling alley from that stairwell that's kind of behind on the backside there.
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh yeah, so actually, I forget. Actually, you don't get there from a stairwell, right? Don't you walk there across from the?
Yeah, it's on the backside of the library for the boys. There's an area you can climb up those stairs.
Yeah, but I remember we always used to have it closed off with a
right,
just a tape or something. It was not a very serious kind of barrier or whatever. So anybody could get up there, even though it said don't enter. But anyway, so I walked out of the office, and out of the corner of my eye saw a girl standing on the on the roof, next to the railing, And I thought, wow, that's really odd. Like, first of all, like, who dropped their kid off that early and just left them? And why is the kid running down there? You know, why did the kid come down to the roof? You know, what on earth's going on? And so I started walking over there, and as you go down the stairs from the office, it's harder, you know, because of the perspective, like the roof, you can't see the roof as clearly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as I was going down the stairs, it was kind of covered behind the wall there, and I saw out of the corner of my eye what I thought was the girl falling off the roof and landing in the porte-cochere area, and like, you know, and I was like, oh my God, like my heart was like beating 100 miles an hour. So I ran in there, and of course there was no girl, nobody had fallen off, and I went around the back of the bowling alley area, you know, that garage area, to see if I could find the kid, and I couldn't find anybody. There was nobody, you know, I didn't see any kid at all there, and so I kind of, you know, looked over that whole part of the park, you know, up into the formal gardens area and all that, you know, and by the pool, and then walked up to where the drop-off area is. At the time, we did the drop-off at the end of the parking lot, kind of over near closest to where the pool is. Mm-hmm. And there was nobody there, and then the counselor started showing up a few minutes later, and I was like, oh my God, I swear I saw a kid here, and I thought I saw them fall off the roof, but they obviously didn't fall off the roof, so I must have imagined that. And then the counselors were like, you know, oh, well, there's nobody here. You know, we kind of looked around the park, and couldn't find anybody who was there, you know, who's there. So I kind of thought, well, maybe I just kind of, you know, spotted something weird out of the corner of my eye and just kind of embellished the rest. And then what was weird was that was kind of weird anyway, but I just kind of wrote it off as like, you know how you see like a little light flare or something like that. I just kind of assumed that that's what it was. And this is a part that I don't know is true, because a couple weeks later I was talking to Bob Brown, the ranger I was telling you about, and he was always obsessed with, you know, all the people who died at Greystone and all the you know, the macabre stories about the place. Mm-hmm. And he told me a story that there was a girl who had at one point in the 30s or something like that had fallen off that roof and died in the courtyard. And this was without me telling him anything about the story of what I'd seen. And so I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that you just said that, because let me tell you what happened to me a couple weeks ago. And I told him the whole story, and he just kind of freaked out about it. But I hadn't heard that story about the girl dying in the courtyard anywhere else. So I don't know if he just kind of made that up, or maybe one of the counselors had told him what I'd said, and he was, you know, just kind of messing with me or whatever. But anyway, that became a story of lore for the summer camp for the next couple of years. Like, yeah, you know, I would tell that story at the campfire, and the kids would get all scared.
Do you remember what you saw on that roof, what she was wearing, and was she transparent? Was she solid?
No, like I said, it was early in the morning, and I was kind of like rushing out of the office with the clipboards in my hands, and I just kind of like saw something out of the corner of my eye, and I just kind of, it looked like I don't know why I assumed it was a girl. I think she was wearing like a white dress or something like that, mm-hmm. And you know, I think there was I think it must have been a white dress or something, because I kind of, in my mind, I was like, oh, well, and also the camp was like 80% girls, so it would have been a fairly safe assumption that if it was one of our camp kids, it would have been a girl. But anyway, for some reason, it looked like a girl. But then as soon as I saw her up there, I started to go down the stairs, and like I said, my view was blocked. You know, as soon as I stepped down the stairs, I couldn't see the roof clearly, and that's when I saw the kind of faint movement that I thought was her falling off the roof. So I didn't get a clear look enough to, you know, to say like what she looked like, other than, you know,
but it sounds
young
like
girl.
Solid then, because if you saw her up there in a white dress, it sounds like it might have been a solid.
Yeah, it was certainly. Yeah, I mean, I didn't, when I first saw her, it wasn't like, oh wow, I'm looking at a ghost. It was definitely like, who dropped their kid off this early, and why is that kid on the roof? You know, I went into immediate like camp counselor mode. Like, what is going on here? They're not allowed on the roof. They know that. What parent dropped their kid off without signing in? You know, because I know they didn't sign in, because I'm holding the clipboards in my hand, and there's no counselors up there. You know, I immediately went to that. It wasn't like, oh, I'm looking at a ghost. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah. So when she, whatever that was, you felt like she fell That means she fell into the courtyard then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, straight off the roof into the courtyard, right in front of it there.
Wow.
But hey Glenn, this is Chris. You didn't, because you were walking down when she fell, you didn't see her hit. You just assumed because she was falling that direction. Is that right?
Yeah, so as I said, as I was walking down the stairs, I lost my view of the roof. And granted, this is going back 27 years or something like that, so I don't remember exactly the order, but I remember as I came out of the office, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something up there, and I was like, oh my God, there's a kid up there. And then I started to head down the stairs, and then I saw something else out of the corner of my eye that looked like movement off the roof into the courtyard. And I was like, immediately my heart started beating. I was like, oh my God, she just fell off the roof. Like, I panicked. And then I ran down to the courtyard, and when she wasn't there, I was like, oh, I just imagined that. Like, she obviously didn't. She must have just been running back off the roof, and it looked like she was falling off.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
running. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't from the perspective that I had coming down the stairs away from the office. In my mind, whether it was my imagination or whether I actually saw it or whatever it was in my mind, I was putting the pieces together that there was a girl up there had fallen off, but I didn't clearly see like her fall off and land in the courtyard or anything like that.
Go ahead. I had a note about justification.
But that's what I was just going to say.
It's not over. It's almost over.
Oh.
But you wanted to talk about the justification of that.
Just the fact that, and here's a guy who's a great guy and tells the truth, and he's just telling what he saw, but that's why I kept asking him. So, what was she wearing? I mean, and then for him to say, what was a white dress? Well, then it's not something you just imagined. Mm-hmm. It's something you saw. Was she transparent solid? Well, I thought it was a little girl from the camp. Well, then she must have been solid. So all those things point to the apparition of a little girl on the roof. And that's what, to me, because it's so, imagine if that happened to us.
Oh.
And we saw that, we'd go, wait a minute, we didn't, I don't know what else. Did he say something else?
No, just let me finish it up.
I'm sorry.
Knowing that you thought it was a little girl and you couldn't find her anywhere, it had to be something, right? Something fell off that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of a skeptic, so the way my assumption is, it was early in the morning, I wasn't totally awake, I hadn't had my coffee, I saw a flicker of light from, a shadow being cast, or a bird jumping or something like that, and then I imagined all the rest. But who knows? Maybe I really saw a ghost falling off the roof, recreating something that happened in the 1930s,
Is that the greatest?
That's
what
unbelievable.
A great way to end that. And
skeptic, coffee, all
everything you can think of. Because and Glenn, if you've watched the other shows that we've done, you're not the only one, man. But there are so many people just go, wait a minute. The fact I didn't have my coffee. So if you had your coffee, you wouldn't have seen that. That's what's so funny, because people do that with all types of cryptids and stuff like that. Well, I woke up in the morning and I didn't have my coffee. That's why I saw this creature running out. It's hilarious, man. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But what a great story, isn't it? Mm. And we have another story that corroborates his story. This is what I love about this.
And this is just as bizarre.
Just as bizarre. And this is what's so great about this, when you can put these pieces together that corroborate each other, then you listen back to Glenn, you go, no, he wasn't crazy. He wasn't imagining this. This was real. And here's why.
The thing is, we saw her. I guess Glenn saw her.
I apologize for the...
That's okay.
It's just really, again, it was a phone call and it was this and that. Anyway,
that's right.
Watch your ears.
I have a different recollection of the story, but I think multiple people saw this girl on the roof. There's that little window up there, which was the kids' playroom. So I was a park ranger there in the late 90s, and also a camp counselor. But so my responsibility was the Greystone Mansion. But during the camp, the firehouse was, which is directly across from that room and that window in the mansion, was what we called our art center. And so that's where we would bring up all the kids, and they would do all their art projects. And then they would, when they were their art projects inside, they would go to the outside little patio right there on the second story, and they would just, look over, the grounds, and they could, just kind of see other kids walking by. Well, there was these two little girls who one day when we were doing the art project, they started screaming, like bloody murder screaming, like we thought something had gone terribly wrong. And we ran out there, and they were pale as a ghost. I mean, it literally, like, you could see through their skin on their cheeks. I just remember this. And I was a lifeguard before a park ranger. I was like, oh my God, they're having like a stroke or something, like something bad has happened to these girls. And they were screaming at first, and then they just went silent, and you could just see so much fear in their eyes. And we finally sat them down, and we're like, and they kept on looking over the roof, and I'm like, girls, what happened? And there was a little girl on the roof, and then she slid down, and then she just went away. And we're like, what are you talking about? And so then we went, like, show us where it was, show us what was happening. And I had never, as a park ranger, we shared kind of all of these stories of kind of the characters that were in the house, and like we kind of made sure we, because we saw the ghosts. I wouldn't say the ghosts, but we saw things quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And then that's when Glenn had said, I saw her that morning or a couple mornings before, and it was the same thing. She was on the roof, and then she sat down, and then it looked like she slipped off, and then she was gone. Like there was nothing there. So, but then we found out that a little girl actually had died falling off the roof.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so, oh my God, I just got the chills talking about it. It's been 20 years. It's so wild. And so that's the only time we ever saw that.
A couple mornings before.
Yeah.
Glenn, so it was right in that little period?
Yeah.
Now, do you know, did she ask the girls if it was solid or?
No, she didn't. Because, the girls.
No, they would say they saw a girl.
They saw a little girl on the roof, and she slipped off, and she went down.
Yeah,
and
obviously solid.
Yeah, so it must have been solid, even though we didn't have that question. She didn't ask that question of these girls. But is that fantastic?
Yeah. I
mean, does that not corroborate what Glenn said?
That's just so wild.
Yeah, man. And never again was she seen on the roof. That was the only two stories and so from that time on, they were there. Glenn and Liddy were there. So, and then other people that took over from them never mentioned, and I didn't get everybody. I'm sure there are other rangers there that, I couldn't find, what have you.
Yeah.
But,
well, there was some, you got to talk to so-and-so. We couldn't contact, we couldn't find them.
Yeah, and certain people, they didn't want to talk, didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, maybe because they were afraid of ridicule, that they had seen things. We know there's one guy out there, and won't use his name, but was a ranger, and they said, you got to talk to him because he saw things, knows things, wouldn't talk to us.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah. Who else?
Next one up is with Chrissa. And that's the girl that we discussed in episode 1 from Norway.
Yeah, Chris and Tanya.
Who walked to Beverly Hills 2.2 miles in 104-degree weather.
Up in heels.
Sorry.
Yes.
Of course, you would remember that.
That's the most important part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had given them a tour, and where are you at this point with this?
Okay, so, and I'm going to throw in a real quick story because... It just goes to show you.
You're not tipping it, are you?
No.
Okay.
But this is Chrissa, and I didn't know she had the gift. She kind of acted like she didn't know she had the gift, but then when we had a conversation, she knew she had the gift. So at the very beginning, remember the story in episode 1, if you do, she walks in and she goes, oh my God, she has goosebumps, and then her hair moved, just like, with the Australian family, I was telling them the story. So her hair moved and it freaked her out. We ended up going downstairs, walking around. When we went into the murder room, this is where another story happened that I never really got into with the murder room because we had so many things going on. But she had, as I'm telling stories about in the murder room, she says, did you hear that? I don't know if you know this story.
No.
Did you hear that? I go, did I hear what? The little footsteps coming toward us. And I said, that's when I realized she goes, and it grabbed my purse. I said, okay, hang on a second. Let me ask you a question. Do you have the gift? And she's like, well, I I mean, I saw my grandmother after she died. I went, well, there's a hint. That's just a hint. I said, oh, and I said, well, then you have the gift. This is why you're hearing things. Because Tanya, who's her friend, is going like, we're both going, we didn't hear anything, and we want to hear these things, but we're not hearing it. Right. She has the gift. So that was the second thing. Then we go through the rest of the house. And remember, I told them, Tanya and Chris, just like I did other people that we'll talk about in a couple minutes, anything happens, let me know. If you're freaked out, let me know. If you're touched, talked to, whatever it may be, and you're scared, I'll take you out. And we it's not a big deal. And nobody ever took me up on that. We went upstairs, and this is what happened when we went upstairs. This is with Chris and Tanya.
We're going to play a section, and then you're going to recap what she said.
Okay. Yeah.
So we go upstairs, and we end up we walk onto the second floor landing on the east side of the building, and we're walking toward Mr. and Mrs. Doheny's room. And I was just telling you about the rooms and who belonged in those rooms back then, the boys and this and that. And you were behind me as I was walking and talking. And then all of a sudden, what happened?
Oh, I don't remember this part.
Well, you're going to remember when I tell you.
Is it that part when I saw something, but I didn't know?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because I remember you pointed at the west to the left, and it said this and that, and people walked here and blah blah blah. And then I thought I saw something from the other side, like from the right. And then I turned, and then I saw someone like, I don't know, played hide and seek with me. So that thing was just coming. I don't know. And then she, oh my God, my English is so bad right now. But
that's okay.
I saw something. I don't know what. I don't know what age. I don't know anything. It just looked like someone played hide and seek with me. And I remember I was looking that way, and she came forward, out? And then she peeked out. Yeah, thank you. And then she hid again, and then she came out again, and then she was just gone. And that's when I wanted out.
I know. And can you tell me what she looked like? Do you remember what that spirit looked like?
I don't know. It was kind of blurry, but it was kind of something white, but I don't know if it was white, because it looked like a girl when I looked at it, but kind of not. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And her and the hair was through the shoulders, kind of. And she was really cute, but kind of not, because it was scary as so.
Yeah. Do you recall the color of her hair?
What?
Do you recall the color of her hair?
I think it was, I'm not sure, but in my head I want to say blonde, but I think it was kind of light brown.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
but right. I just remember that I didn't want to look at it, but my eyes just draw that way. But it was so friendly.
Okay. And when you saw that, then what happened?
I was like, I don't want to say that. I don't want to, because I looked at it, and then I looked away, and then I looked at it again, because I was really drawn to look at it. And then you said something, and I jumped, and then I said, I want out. I really don't want to do this anymore. And I felt a lot. And then you told me about this girl, the daughter or anything, and you said her name. I don't remember her name, but you were like, come forward or anything, and then she was just gone, and all the energy was gone.
Yeah.
And I felt exhausted.
She said, I felt exhausted.
Yeah,
Is that what she was saying?
Yeah. So let me try to recap, just for those of you who didn't get some of that, because she's also, she's doing the best she can with her English, and I thought she did really well. But
a lot better than your Norwegian.
I don't think that's true. Okay. So we're walking east to west on the top landing hallway. And on the left, which is Patrick and Lucy's rooms, that's where it happened. She's behind me, and I'm saying, so over here, being, the tour guide, not paying attention. And Tanya's kind of with me, and I'm talking this and that, and Chris is behind me, and she looked into the room and then looked away like, what did I see? Then looked again, and this apparition is doing this with her, is doing like peeking out, back and forth, back and forth. And what I just said prior to hearing this was nobody ever has told me I want out except Chrisa.
Mm-hmm.
She's the only one. And she said, I want out. And Tanya's like, I don't want to go. It was the greatest. But Chrisa was done, man. Do I have any more of her?
Yeah, we have another section.
Let's do that before I ruin something here.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
And when you saw that, and I was walking ahead of you, I heard you like go, oh. And then you said, I have to go now. So I said, I turned to you, and your face, you were so scared. And I said, okay, because I told you if anything happened, we just walk out. I said, okay. And Tanya says, but wait, I don't want to go.
I was so excited. I really exhausted. I just wanted to go, and she was so excited. And it felt like it felt like I'd run like 10,000 miles and done 100 push-ups and stuff because I was so exhausted. When we went out of the building, I don't know, I was so tired, and I remember the car when you drove us home. I don't remember anything because I was so tired. I was like, yeah.
Wow,
so
probably.
I think I fell asleep when we got home. Because
it drained your energy.
Well, it really did.
Once we got you outside, you calmed down a little bit just because you were out of that building, and I could see you were almost shaking. You were just so over being in that building. You just wanted out, and then I started feeling really bad because I felt like, well, you guys wanted to come see this place, and then you went in to see this place, and you couldn't wait to get the hell out.
Yeah.
That was so scary for you.
Glad we did, because it was a pretty mansion. It was so much energy, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
What she had mentioned, she was so tired. What happened on the ride to the Airbnb with you and Tanya?
Yeah. So the deal was, remember, they walked 2 miles. It was really hot that day, and they were in heels and everything. So I said, I drove them up. We went inside the mansion, and we finished. I said, you're not walking back. I will drive you to the Airbnb, which is over by the Beverly Center, 2.2 miles. And so she was exhausted. I think this ghostly little girl took that energy, used her energy. And plus she was frightened, which puts out energy, and then they take advantage of that, and they take that energy. When we got in the car, she and Tanya were in the back seat, and I'm driving to the Beverly Center, and I'm talking to Tanya, and I look back in the rear view at Chrisa, and she's out.
Mm.
She's like slumped over, done. And it was really, really kind of concerning to me, because it was like, wow. It was bizarre that she was so exhausted. That's why she kept saying, I feel like I did all these push-ups and I ran all. She was exhausted. And then she started to come to right around the Beverly Center to her Airbnb thing. And I was like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, thank you. And got her out of the car, and they went on their merry way. And it was like, it was just astounding. And I didn't see anything. I didn't feel anything. Tanya didn't either. Of course, we were in front of her, so we didn't see what was in that room. But would I have seen?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Had I walked by there?
Yeah.
I've walked by that room probably 500 times over 22 years or whatever, nothing, never looked at me, never felt anything, never saw anything.
Yeah.
I take her in because she has the gift. Didn't know she had the gift, but I took her in, and Chris is probably 5 foot.
Oh, really? I didn't know she was that short.
Like 5 foot, I think. So I hope I'm not embarrassing you. 5 foot, 5'2", something like that. Very small. And so, if this little girl is, let's say she's 12 or whatever they're saying, and she's like 4'8" or almost 5, she's found a friend, and she wants to do all that stuff,
Right.
and that's why. Remember and we'll move on. I'm sorry, but remember the Australian family, the girl who was like 12. She's smaller.
Yeah, maybe play.
And she's like, oh my God, a friend. I can play with a friend, right?
If you're buying that.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay. No, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Next up.
Yep.
Motoring through is Ben Lowry. Tell me how this tour with he and his friend came to be.
Okay. So we've talked about this group, and it was actually 5 people. I was thinking about it today. It was Ben, Sam, Alex, Mark, and then a guy, Chris, or Christopher, I think, was on the tour. When we had the tour, and
you gave them the same warning, right?
Yeah, same warning. If something happens to you, let me know, because I want to make sure everybody's okay. And that one was at night, and I took them in as a favor to Frank, her father, and I didn't want anything to happen to them. I didn't want anybody to run and get hurt, because then the city would say, what are you doing? So I was very cautious and said, please, if something happens, you got to let me know. They're the group that were down in the basement, and Sam is watching me at the panel of the electrical panel down in the basement. Her hair flips over. Remember that one? That's Sam. Same group of people. So now this time we're going to this one is we're in the rec wing stairwell, the staircase that's in the rec wing, which is
the landing and stair.
Yeah, yeah. So that's another show. That's 17 or something coming up, but we get everybody, and I'll lay this out because I don't think Ben talks. And Ben, by the way, is the coolest dude. Just a little off.
You're not going to tip anything, right?
No.
Okay.
Just he's like me. That's why I like this guy so much. He's just kind of there, kind of just out there a little bit, and I love this guy. And so remember, this is after I gave them the tour. A year later, because a couple days later, Frank calls me and says, "What was that?" And I said, "What was what?" "The tour you gave my girls. What was that all about?" I go, "I don't know."
We talked about this on that other show.
Right. So I let that go and said, "Well, I'll talk to him some point." Well, time goes by, and now I want to write the book, and it's a year later. And I go, I got to get a hold of. Hey, Frank, can I have your daughter? Get a hold of Sam and I. They agreed to come up to Greystone. Didn't want to come up, by the way. Sam did not even want to ever come back into that house. Came up to Greystone, and it was the 3 of them, not Mark or Chris, but it was Ben, Sam, and Alex. And this story, I'll let Ben tell you the story, and then I'll try to fill in areas that may have been missed.
All right. There we go.
Yep.
We were all at the bottom of the stairs looking up, all of us, all 5 of us. And there was a door that was opening slowly. We were looking up here and the door is opening, like really slowly, just opening. And we were all watching it open. And then Ben ran back up here to shut the door.
I remember thinking like they're all kind of freaked out, like the door open. So I came back up, and I came to close the door nonchalant or whatever. And there was some kind of blur that I saw, like a motion blur, like if you see someone running. To me, it looked like a kid-size height person running that way, away, like you barely caught, who knows, but they seemed to be wearing some kind of nightgown. It looked to me like it was a girl. It was sunset, so I remember the light was kind of pink. So I don't know if it was either a pink kind of, it looked like a pink or a white with the light, the pink light shining off of it. just one really like you could barely like just really quickly. That's what I saw.
So you see this, if it was a little girl, you see this, and she's running. What's going through your head then?
I just immediately started like questioning what I like that's crazy. And I know the facts, right? So you know that like we're the only people here, and you know that like I was skeptical of like what I saw, even though it's been a year, and I thought about it, and it happened. You know what I mean? But I'm thinking in my mind like, dude, you just heard all these terrifying stories. You're alone up here, and like you saw something, and I was like, let's go see the bowling alley, basically, because it was like it was. In fact, I wouldn't even say that it was a terrifying feeling that I had. It was one of like just surprise, almost kind of like. I felt very like kind of calm actually, seeing it happen. I was like. That's interesting. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, it was like, did I see that? And like, it wasn't like I had a terrified presence around whatever I saw. It was like that kind of a thing. It felt like between both sides, right? So it was just, and then I also didn't want to have to explain to the people that were with. So I'm like, I'm just, like, I didn't want to get played up too much because it was something that I considered maybe potentially special, and I didn't want to be ridiculed for something that I saw.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. And so when you went back down, did you tell Alex or Sam or anybody?
I don't quite recall, but I must have told somebody because the word got out.
Wow. So, and again, as always, there's justification because so what he did was I had to go downstairs when I did my tour, it was like a 2-hour tour when I did the right one. And by the end, the last thing is that staircase, the theater, you go down to the bowling alley, then we come up and I take them into the courtyard and say, thanks very much. So we're near the end of the tour. The lights back then, the lights you had to turn on down in the billiard room for the theater. We'd been in the theater, and I said, guys, stay right here on the landing. I'm going to go down and shut off the lights in the theater. So I left, and I went down into the bowling alley. As I'm down in the bowling alley, that's when the door up in the landing starts to open. They think it's me doing a bit because I just said, I'll be right back.
Is he going to talk? Is he going to tell it?
I don't know. Play it.
Yeah.
Play it.
Please.
Briefly, I can see through the peephole there. At the end of this hallway is a stairway and a door.
And that goes...
That's exactly where I saw whatever I saw was from that door to the stairway.
So that far down?
Yeah, I believe so.
We can go back in there from the inside of the house to see it.
Yeah, we're sure that this is the staircase.
It's the staircase, yeah.
Is it really hot up here? Don't f with me, guy. I'm like burning up right here. Let's go downstairs.
He started to feel a little weird. And this place affects Ben, no question. And you'll find out even more. I think I can tell you what I was going to say, which was they just thought it was me doing a prank because I leave to go down to turn off the lights and suddenly a door opens, which is weird.
Oh.
That's why he ran. He said to me, I went, oh, yeah, really? It's Clete, man. And he ran up the stairs to that door. And I think that's what he's saying is he looked in the keyhole.
Yeah, because the door was locked.
Right. He looked in the keyhole, and that's what he saw was this blur running away from him. So we couldn't get in that because that door's locked. I didn't have that certain key. So I think we went back in the house. You were with me, I think. You were with me on this. We went back in the house and then went up to the boys' wing to that hallway to finish the chat.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing here.
Okay.
This is the stairway.
So from there, where was the blur of the child?
Like I said, well, see, this is where it's a little bit different because I thought this door was a little closer there, but it looked like a run from like out the door to yeah.
And you think it was a girl? Or was it a gown?
I don't know. It was a gown, someone about this tall. It must have been a girl because it looked like girls' clothing, but and it seemed to have like some kind of trim, like white ruffles around the
like lace or
something? Like something like this, some kind of frill. Now, that's one part of it that was like pretty clear to me. And it looked like someone playing or something like that. It was just like not like you see someone running. So weird. I was always wondering.
Well, I'm kind of confused because we talked about the peephole, whatever, but I remember him saying that he opened the door quickly. So at that time, I think he looked in the peephole this time, looking in the peephole. I can see where there is. But on that night, we were able to walk through that door, and he opened the door quickly, and that's when he saw this little girl running. She's 3/4 of the way down toward the main part of the house. So she's running away from him toward these stairs that go down and then back out into the second floor landing. Is there more with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple more.
Okay, really? Okay, good. So that door opens.
That door
What's to
opens.
say she didn't open it and then run through here, and then you come up, she knows you're there, and
that would make a little bit more sense because while the motion was going this way towards this door specifically, that would make more sense because the door did open, and all I saw was like basically the equivalent of like that, basically just the last second of it. And so I had assumed that it had come out of the bedroom, but it would make more sense they were running. If there was anything, the door opened, I went up to close it. And,
wow.
Very interesting.
Now, as if this isn't bizarre and strange enough.
Yeah.
What happened after the tour?
Yeah. So
now we have.
Okay, I'm not going to tip this, but let me just say that. So we went up there, and what I was saying was, this is what we came up with. She probably opened the door and it started going, and that's when they thought it was me doing it. So when he ran up, she ran away. And when he got up to the top of the stairs, she's near the other end of the hallway, and he sees her dart down those stairs.
Right.
And he says, that would make sense.
Yeah.
So instead of her darting out of a room, whatever, she just opened up and ran, knowing he's going to come up, oddly enough.
Right.
But remember how specific he is with seeing lace or ruffles or whatever on.
That's true.
He's seeing something, and she wasn't transparent. Yeah. She was solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So great, man. So we have a conversation and a little bit more. He wants to tell me a little bit more what happened from this encounter.
There's another part to this story. Was there anywhere else we were going, or this was it, right? So the next day was crazy, and they reminded me when we were driving from the top of the hill. And this is hard to talk about, I guess, but so after that day, and I had forgotten, but I was in a very strange state of mind after that for about a day or two, like very stressed out, very kind of at my wit's end, kind of feeling very kind of not myself. And I went to work. And my boss had kept joking for a few months, it sounds crazy, but you know, if you punch Phil in the face, or if Phil punches you in the face, I'll give you guys $1,000 or something. I don't remember what it was, but something like that. Because he knew me and Phil, both very pleasant people who would never get violent. That day, man, like, I thought about, I'm like, Phil could use the money too. I punched that motherfucker in the face. I mean, this is a 40-something-year-old man. He got knocked on the ground, like a big old lump on his head. But why'd you do that? And I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. You know, I've apologized. We made peace. You know, it's good. We're friends. Yeah, I almost lost my job actually, because my boss like, you think I'm serious? I'm like, yeah, I thought you were serious. You know, I'm not saying that I justify it from what happened, but like I knew that like I felt like I had lost my mind for a few days after that, and yeah, I guess that's.
Do you think there might have been an attachment to you from here?
I do. I didn't mention it, but I was going to say that to me the most remarkable thing about the whole trip was that because he was really not in a good place after that.
I remember talking to Alex the next day, and she was talking about Ben, and she was like, he's been weird since the mansion, and then after work she was like, he punched somebody today. Like, it's very, very unlike him, and it was for a few days too. And when you reached out a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about this, and I started to remind her of stories, she said the most significant thing was that Ben punched somebody the next day, and that it really was though, because he would not do that.
Did you ever feel a moment that it went away, that suddenly you were like, it's gone, I don't feel as aggressive, I don't feel...
I feel like it took some time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of chaos after Phil. It felt like just a generally turbulent time for like a few weeks actually after that moment.
And you guys could see the change.
Oh yeah.
And like I feel right now I feel hot. I felt like angry. Like I feel like I'm like sweating. I'm sweating right now. Like I'm hot. It's crazy.
I'll give you $1,000 to punch Chris.
Watch out, Chris.
I'll take the money.
This, you know, obviously this affects you more because I'm not hot at all. Are you guys okay?
I'm a little
warm. Talking about it, maybe that's it because I get worked up talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
that's never happened to you since. You haven't felt that same feeling since. You haven't punched anybody since?
I definitely have not gotten violent with anybody since then. You know, people have their ups and downs and stuff like that, but that was a particularly strange feeling. One that I think, purposely stopped thinking about, because I felt guilty about what happened with Phil, but we, like I said, we're good friends, you know. But, you know, I feel like I just completely blocked that part of the rest of it out. Thank you actually very much for letting me come, because it kind of has given me a lot of like kind of relief and closure on this. Like I don't feel as crazy about what happened. If you know, I'm not the type of person who really wants to like talk about this sort of thing, or like, you know, I was worried about what anyone would think about, but you know, I appreciate it. You know,
absolutely.
You know, you've heard crazier things than this.
Not so much, but
that was pretty.
Is it wild?
Crazy.
Yeah.
And enough where this is a guy, according to his friends, that he would never strike anybody.
No. I think I'm very confident in this. I really believe he was jumped. I don't think there was.
What does that mean, Clete?
I think that a spirit jumped inside and took over his body.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
okay.
And there could be attachments. You could have somebody. An attachment is something.
I've heard about those. I mean, it makes more sense because his personality changed so much.
Exactly,
but still,
everything changed. And here's a really kind of quiet, docile guy, and he says to his best friend, he just lays him out. I think he was jumped, And when we were talking inside the mansion, he goes, is it hot in here, man? Don't mess with me, all that stuff. You could see there's like a little agitation. I think he's ripe, he's open, and whatever spirits are in there are going to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened.
That was wild.
Is that crazy? That is incredible. What an incredible story.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Our last story before our sound of the week.
We have another story.
Oh, we have another story.
What is this one now?
This is about you doing the Film Scout.
Oh my gosh!
Okay,
thank you for that. I forgot all about this. Okay, so I'm going to fill you in on how we found out the name of the ghostly girl, and this happened to me in the mid 2000s. I don't have a specific date. But they do a film scout. And so when a film scout happens, it's the main group of people that are going to be running the film. So let's say it's the director of photography, the set decorator, all the biggies come in and they walk through the lot. And now this time it was into the mansion to say what they wanted to do for the shoot. And then whether we will allow them to do that or not. So whether it's hanging rugs or painting this and that, they have to know. And we have to know. So on this day, the whole crew was inside in the grand hall. I had come in, and I'm sure it was probably Steve, and I'm guessing it was Steve and Dan running this. It was a big film. And so I was in the corner just to make sure. What I used to do is, Dan and Steve would take all the notes and everything. And every once in a while, I'd just be there to make sure that nobody wandered off or whatever inside the mansion. So I'm just standing back. And as I'm standing back with this group of 20-some people, I see this one woman look over at me, and she had this look and I knew what the look was. And I was like, oh.
We talked about this though this story was in the grand hall, wasn't it? Same story?
Was it? Good Lord, I don't recall. But I don't think
we talked about the scout.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we would.
Or was that at my lecture? We don't even know anymore what the hell. Just let me continue.
So many stories.
Yeah, let me continue.
Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, she looks at me and gives me this look, and I go, oh, God, I know that look. That look is something happened to her. So I'm thinking of sneaking out of there so I don't have to deal with that. And she says, excuse me. And I go, yeah. And she breaks away from the crowd, comes over to me, and leans into me and says, is this place you know? And I said, no, I don't know. What is it? What do you mean? And she said, because I don't want to push her in any direction about anything. And she said, is it haunted? So we're not supposed to talk about that at that time. And I just said, why do you ask? Trying to get around it. And she said, ever since I was a little girl, I could see, hear, feel, sense spirits. And when I came, she said, and when I turned 15, I had to shut it down. It became too much for me. But when I walked into the mansion today with this group, I was standing there and I looked over and this little girl ran at me. And she runs toward her and she's saying, my name is Emily. It's Emily. My name is Emily. And she's like looking at this girl and she comes right up to her by the whole group of people. And she looks at everybody else. They're not even responding to this little girl. And she's thinking, oh my God, it's happening again. And she just kind of walks away from the group, goes around the corner and says, okay, your name is Emily. Your name is, don't do this to me, please. You got to stay away from me. You stay away from me. So she says, so my question is this place haunted? And I said, yes. Did a little girl die here? And I said, yes. Was her name Emily? I said, we don't know. She goes, it's Emily. And I said, okay. So ever since that day, when I would come into the house, I would let her know I'm coming in as if she was there. Emily, it's Clete. I'm coming in, honey. I'm just going to do whatever I had to do that, and I'll be coming out. I'll get out of your way. You hang in there. Hope you're having a good day. And I would treat her like she's right in front of me. And to the point where one day I thought, I want to connect with her. I want to put a camera inside the mansion that I can access and that I could watch at night to see if I can see. So I ended up buying a camera and I went to IT. I didn't know the guys at IT. Very funny group of people. So I go in there and I introduce myself, and they're just kind of staring at me. Nice guys in the long run, nice guys, but they were just kind of like, they weren't into it. And I said, what can we do for you? I said, well, I bought this camera. And the guy's looking at it, I go, that's a cool camera. He's into the, the nuts and bolts.
Technical side.
Tech stuff, right? And I said, listen, what I'd like to do, guys, is be able to place this camera inside the mansion at night and have access to it from my apartment so I could look in the camera. And they're like, why? I said, well, because that way I'd be in my apartment and I could look inside the mansion at night through the camera. Why? Because I want to see the ghosts. Seriously, why? I go, no, I'm telling you seriously, the ghosts. And they're like, they weren't into it. And so I said, I tell you what, I'll leave you the camera. I had to go. I'll leave you the camera. Came back the next day. The guy goes, this is a pretty cool camera. And I go, yeah, check it out, man. Wouldn't it be cool if I had it in the house? Because you can speak through it and you can turn it and look up and down, all that stuff. And he looks at the other guy and goes, we could put this in the house, couldn't we? Guy goes, I don't know, can we do that? And he goes, yeah, we could how about we just put it in the house? We got to.
You are so lucky. Honestly.
I was very lucky. He has to get a VPN, and then they go into all that stuff. Which I didn't know what that meant. And finally, the day came. I put it in the center of the second floor landing. There was a marble like.
This was December 9th, 2016.
There you go.
Is when you did this.
Okay, so it actually did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
it did happen. Yes.
There's a marble pedestal. It's still up there. Mm-hmm. That was in the middle of the landing because there's a chandelier that hangs there, and people put it there so you didn't hit your head. So I put the camera on that marble pedestal. So they set it up for me. I went in there on December 9th, 2016,
mm-hmm.
by myself. About 9:30 at night, I walked in there, and I brought some devices with me. The camera was there. I said to Emily, as if she was right in front of me, "Hi there, honey. I want to bring you some things tonight so that you could play with them. So let me show you how these work. You turn this on. It's called a REM pod. You turn on beep beep. See that turns that on. Is that cool? I'm gonna leave that there, and I put these 3 devices in the portal area in that corner." Another was like, I think it's Ovulus, and then I had a mag light. You know, the mag light you turn. So I said, look at, because remember, she's from 1927, 28. I said, look, you can turn this and it comes on. You turn it off. Whoa, is that the coolest? So I'll place that right.
It's where the head would, if anybody doesn't know what a mag light is, it's where the head, you turn the head slightly and it turns it on. And if you back it off just a notch, it's just barely, but it goes off.
Yeah, it goes off. So you set that there. And it stays off. It's staying off. It's staying off. So I said, honey, I'm going to go. I want you to play with these and just have a great night. Just have a really good night. And I'll pick them up tomorrow, but I just want you to have some fun tonight, okay? You have a great night. I went down, put on the alarm, and I left. I went, how psycho am I?
Very.
Right? Because I did the whole thing. I drive, I get home, I get on my iPad, and I'm like, oh my God. So I got on the app and I got onto the camera. And so when I'm speaking, there's a delay from my apartment to the mansion. So if I go, Emily, it takes like 2 or 3 seconds before you can hear my voice. So are we showing this, or do we play anything or not?
We're going to play, let's just play it. You'll know what it is.
Okay, so I'll try to describe it after it's over.
Yeah.
We'll see what it is.
We can do it a couple times.
Okay.
Emily.
Turn it on one more time, please.
Emily. On one more time, please. Emily.
Turn it on one more time, please.
On one more time, please.
I saw a little orb there. Thank you, honey.
I saw a little orb there. Thank you, honey.
I saw a little orb there.
I saw a little orb there.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for those of you listening, when I say because when I went home, I looked at my iPad, and then I got my phone and I started recording my iPad. The lights were going on and off, and then I realized I could have a conversation with her just by asking her, in essence, like yes or no questions.
Which is really wacky.
Yeah, but it works.
But
it works.
I've seen it.
Yeah. And so I had like a 6-minute conversation with her. Part of that conversation is what you just heard. Turn it on one more time, please. She turns on the light. And I said, thank you, honey. And out of that light flies this orb.
An orb?
An orb. Like, an orb. Yeah, just energy.
Right.
Flying out of the light. But there were also other conversations I had with her of, do you have friends in the house? Like,
and yes was a light on.
On, yeah.
And no light was.
Yeah. And I'd say, you do? Oh my God, that's so great. Could you turn that off for me, please? You have to turn, they're perfect. And at one point.
Meaning it would go off.
It would go off. And I said, honey, this is how sick I am. Honey, do you like Clete?
He did.
No light. Do you like Ranger Steve? Light comes on.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Well, there is a reason for that, for sure.
All right, let's wrap it up and get to the sound.
How cool is that?
Is that great? It's incredible.
And she was there, man. I had a conversation with her. I asked her all these questions. Do you want to get out? She didn't want to leave. It's wild.
It's unbelievable.
Okay, so we're going to do, what are we doing now?
Wrapping it up, we're going to do the sound of the week.
Sound of the week.
Spirit upstairs.
Okay, so this ties in, oddly enough, whoever came up with this is a genius. This ties into what we just talked about, okay? It's just what we just talked about. I'm in the house at night. I'm with Ranger Patrick. And he would do investigations with me as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm in there with Ranger Patrick. We've put the REM pod, beep, beep, upstairs.
They don't know what that is if they're
REM
just
pod,
tuning
it's
in.
Electromagnetic field that if electromagnetic energy comes near this device, it will light up and beep. Mm. And the closer you get it, the more the lights you'll see, right, and a different sound will make. So I left that upstairs, and Patrick and I are leaving for the night. We're going to play it now, and then I'll explain it.
Okay.
Cool?
Yeah.
Emily, we're down upstairs. We're not there anybody. If you want to, if you want to make that light up and up there, go for it. Right, if you do that one more time, we'll look and see. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want us to stay?
Do you want us to go? Are you afraid of us?
Are you afraid of someone else? Something else?
Okay, so
they just don't know how bizarre that is, because this device sitting in the middle, where you guys were, can't do that without some kind of energy near it.
Right.
And we've tested it, and you can stand there and do anything around, and you come near it, and it sounds.
It doesn't go off on a random thing.
No,
it has to have some electromagnetic field near it.
Right.
Now it's sitting upstairs by itself. And this it's hard to understand, but this is what I say on there, because I listened to it today and wrote it all down. I say, Emily, we're downstairs. We're not there anymore. Like she doesn't know. But this is how you have to think about it, right?
No, that's how you think about it.
Emily, we're downstairs. We're not there anymore. If you want to make that light up there, go for it. And then it beeps. I'm telling her to light it up. She lights it up. And I say, honey, if you do that one more time, we'll know that it's you. It goes off again. So I'm just trying to connect with her on that. Thank you. Then Patrick says, thank you. And that's when Patrick says, do you want us to stay? Nothing. I say, do you want us to leave? Beep.
Are you guys didn't take the hint, obviously.
Well, no, we did. We did. I said, First we said, are you afraid of us?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Patrick says, which was great, Are you afraid of someone else? Nothing. Something else? Beep. Because we know there's something bad in that house.
Yeah.
So she's probably kind of staying away from that.
Yeah.
Do you want to play it again, or you want to let it go?
We could play it again.
Do it one more time. It's like
All right.
a minute.
Emily, we're down the stairs. We're not near anybody. If you want to, if you want to make that plan up there, go for it. Right? If you do that one more time, we'll look and see. Thank you. Thank you. Do you want us to stay? Do you want us to go? Are you afraid of us? Are you afraid of someone else? Something else?
Something just dawned on me. Was she telling us, do you want us to leave? Yes. Was that to get us out so we don't encounter what's inside that house? Could be.
Interesting.
It could be.
Never thought of it
Never
that
thought
way.
of either, yeah. But how wild is that, man? That's direct communication with a device and that's why we took so long in between questions, because we're waiting for it to, I was looking at like, see if it goes off again, just a random thing. Didn't.
No, it's not random at all.
No.
You can hear that. Even
Yeah.
a skeptic can hear that.
Yeah.
And I know you guys, I know Patrick and you both.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
I love this show.
We're wrapped. If you like it, then hit that like, subscribe, ring the bell, do it. It helps us. And leave a review if you can on YouTube.
I have to do this, man.
I'm glad. We're very proud of that book.
Yeah.
Leave a comment on YouTube if you want. If it's something that's very personal and you don't want to leave a comment, then go to our website, ghostsofgreystone.com, and leave it there. We get back to everybody immediately, whether it's on YouTube or not. And thanks for listening on Spotify and Australia and Canada.
Man. I hope the people in Australia, I hope that family that I gave the tour to from Australia are the ones that are listening, among others, I hope. But that family, the sweetest, coolest, greatest family. And if you're listening, I hope all is well. And thanks for listening.
Yeah. And next episode, we've got 5 locations. Hopefully it's not as long as this show, but 5 different locations.
Voices, poltergeists, apparitions.
And one of my all-time favorites, in the massage room.
Whoa!
That's don't miss that story, because it really is literally a great story.
And Patrick's story, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a great one, too.
Okay.
And you'll hear Patrick tell history. That's the one we just heard. You want us to leave? Listen, I have to say this, as I always do. And first of all, thank you so much for listening. I know it's a long show, but I couldn't split it up. And we
couldn't get him to stop.
We wanted Emily just to be throughout this whole show. And I'm so happy we did this anyway. And remember, I didn't see her, but just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye-bye.
100 horses in 5 freight trains couldn't drag me into that early grave. I've cashed in the mistakes I've made, while God rode shotgun from 1,000,000 miles away. I don't wake in sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal in hearsay, I don't dwell in blame. Sometimes it's best to forget what I know and what they say, but this ain't that time, and this ain't that day. this ain't that time, and this ain't that day. I'll keep riding till the trail grows cold, where the hillsides burn, amber and smoke. The sheep and the shepherd are lost on different roads, blinded by hate, blinded by hope. I don't wake in sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal in hearsay, I don't dwell in blame. Sometimes it's best to forget what I know and what they say, but this ain't that time, and this ain't that day. I don't wake in sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal in hearsay, I don't dwell in blame. Sometimes it's best to forget what I know and what they say, but this ain't that time, no, this ain't that time, and this ain't that day.